everybody. This is Zack Snyder. I'd like you all to check out this amazing comic called Screecher, made by the Every So Cool Phoenix Press. It's currently on Kickstarter, so give it a look if you want something to fill that void.
So that abomination was not Zack Snyder endorsing my comic, unfortunately. That was AI. I figured that would kind of be a good kind of like set the palette, if you will. Hi, everybody. This is Nick. Welcome to the Friday Night Frenzy, where everything is canon and the topics, well, the topics, they're
guidelines than actual rules.
One of these days, I'll get that transition right. One of these days. Joining me is the ever so popular Eagle Rider. Hello.
Hello.
And making her Friday Night Frenzy debut is Rosalind. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I just woke up this Saturday morning.
Wait, morning?
Yeah.
What sorcery is that?
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. here.
Where vaguely are you, if you don't mind telling people?
I'm in Japan. I live in Japan. I've been living here for the last 3 years, just about now.
Every weeb's fantasy.
Yes. Yeah, definitely anime everywhere here. Definitely like this place if you're an anime.
Yeah. So basically, I brought you guys here to talk about like AI art, like the pros, the cons, and I think most of us are kind of more on the anti side. So I kind of wanted to start by just going and kind of each person saying like what AI art means to them, what their concerns are, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So Rose, since you are new to this, can you please start?
Like my 2 cents on like AI.
Yeah.
Probably potentially unpopular opinion. My 2 cents on AI is obviously it can't be copyrighted and it shouldn't be used as a final production for anything really. But I feel that if you're using it as a tool to assist you in the sense of like you're trying to concept something out and you're using it to try to help you get there before you have an actual artist be able to make the final artwork for you, I think it's appropriate. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You're not monetizing it and you're not claiming it's yours. It's just an assistant to try to bring your vision to life. I don't think it should be used as a final product anyways, because most of the time AI looks like trash to begin with.
Yeah, like for example, the image that's topped off the show. Yeah, I did an AI voice to have Zack Snyder promote my comics, but I made a very point saying that's not Zack Snyder. That was just kind of a for fun kind of thing. And also it's like, while it does sound a lot like him, you can very much tell it's not him.
Oh, yeah, no, the thing about AI, it's very, like, uncanny, it's very inhuman, and it does have that feeling of, like, no soul to it, as, like, a lot of people, like, talk about AI. It's fairly easy for me
and the hands.
Oh, yeah, the hands. It's fairly easy for me to figure out if something's AI or not, like, on, like, Webtoon, for example. There's a lot of AI comics coming out. A few new original ones I've looked at, and I'm just like, wow, this looks like trash. I'm just like, I can tell.
There's another issue with that too, because the courts have already ruled you can't copyright anything from AI.
No, because it's not made. It's not made by a human. It's just.
So if you're making an AI comic, then you have nothing here. Okay, so I have to. This is relevant here to this. If I can get a screen share for just a moment here, I will be putting up here because this is something I've actually been talking about a bit. So here's a few things here that I've been talking about. AI hands. First of all, you see the extra finger just melding into the hand there?
Yeah.
AI hands. Freddy Krueger much? Look at these.
Freddy Krueger much? I've never heard it like that. I love that.
And if you look at the main image it comes from, also look at the shoulders. It looks disjointed and stretched.
Oh, they sure got the boobs right, though. They sure got that perfectly.
I've seen some AIs that look like you stuck like a C cup next to an H.
Yeah, it's weird.
This one, though, holy shit, what the hell is this hand?
I don't know.
What is that? I've made a thing. Okay, yeah, I have my stolen meme, so we can go off this for now. I've made a thing if I go through so often and see a bunch of the AI posts and I pick them apart for the hands and limbs and post the stuff mocking it.
See, normally, like, I would be more than happy to be like, oh, AI art's for me, not for me, but it has uses for some people. But the thing that pushes me, like, really into anti-camp, the pro AI art people are cringe as hell. Like, dear God.
It's just adversity. And the shit he's doing to his fans for not supporting it.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. But, like, they say, like, oh, digital art before that, digital photography, like, but all the stuff before it was, created by human hands. And what's up, Darius? I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, buddy? But like, yeah, like digital music, like digital painting. You're still putting your hand to a touchpad, but you're still creating art.
I would know I'm a digital painter.
Like that. The one that pisses me off is they keep going. It's just like doing photos because the camera's doing the work for you. It's like, no, the camera's not doing the work for you. You're still zooming, controlling, doing the digital lighting up the cameras, doing physical stuff with cameras. It's not the same. But the reason I have a problem with this as much as I do is because I understand how they're programming them and making them. What they're doing is they're taking hundreds of thousands of art pieces from artists without consent, without paying them royalties, and they're pumping them into these programs so that these programs will recreate art based on their style without paying them.
And they're not doing a very good job of it.
Royalties. And
they're not doing a very good job of it because, like, hey Keely, we're talking about like AI art. This is like the AI art struggle section, if you will. But AI art all seems to have like the same. Right. Yeah, and like I can have some respect for the people who do AI art and then like they edit it, they shape it. Like, I can respect the effort you put in beyond that. I still don't agree with it, but I can at least respect, okay. And in all fairness, that is what Shad does. Shad is in that latter camp. And on some respects, I can respect that. But he just comes about it totally the wrong way.
See, I completely disagree. Shad is absolutely dishonest about a lot of it. And he is absolutely lying about how the programs run just so he can tell his fans not to support the people that are against it. He's degrading anybody who won't agree with him on it. He is all kinds of crazy. And he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, like, didn't he have like his brother on who was an actual artist, and the brother was like, I'm gonna say what you want to hear just to shut you up, but you know, that's just something I heard, so I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know because I'll full disclosure, I tuned out on him like 2 years ago because I kept debunking his videos on weapons. And he's such an arrogant prick. He thinks he knows everything. I can't stand him. So a little context, yes, I will admit I don't like him, so there is a bias, but it's also he's just not being honest. I will give him credit when he's good and he's right about things. But it's not just that he's being dishonest, it's that he's being such an abusive asshole about it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have.
I don't want this to be a let's rag on Shags for an hour.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm not going to focus on him most of it. I'm saying that's the problem I have, and that's why I had a problem with his stuff. Is it's not that he thinks it's going to be good or stuff like that. It's that he won't have the conversation, and he's not being nice to people.
Yeah, that's a problem. Like, I've had conversations with pro AI art people, and they say their points, and I'm like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. I don't disagree with you, but I can at least see where you're coming from. We can at least like disagree from there. But a lot of these people, they're so combative. You know, I mean, this can be said for like anything, not just AI art debate. But like when you're combative, it just makes a person entrenched in their point even more.
I've literally seen people just be like, or who I dub as AI bros, who are just like, artists can lose their jobs and get a real job. And I'm just like, who hurt you? Like,
thank you for mentioning.
Your mom hurting you in the basement? Like, what's going? Do I need to call Child Protective Services? Like, what's going on?
Did you get like a paper cut by a drawing of Mickey Mouse or something?
Yeah, I know, right?
Where they sit there and go, oh, you should lose. Artists are useless anyways. You should lose your job. It's like, okay, what do you want me to do if I'm not an artist and a photographer? Because I'm legally disabled. I'm not allowed to work other jobs. I'm not able to because I can't consistently get up one day to the next. I can't work a normal job. I cannot. This is how I can stay alive. I mean, so what do they want people like me to do? Because a lot of people go into art because we have these things that happen to us and we can't do normal life, and pain creates beauty.
Oh yeah. And also, like, without artists, we're not going to have movies, TV shows, comics, graphic design. We're not going to have any other plans for just like furniture, fashion design, like things that are constantly like throughout the world that we use, like share, make everything really, things that we indulge in. We're not going to have any of that really. Without artists in the world. And there's so many different types of artists. It's not just like, digital artists or artists who paint. Like there's so many kinds, and and I'm gonna throw in like music composers under that too. Like, and also writers, since there is AI for writing too. Like there's so many different creative fields, and it's insane. Yeah, and I'm also a writer myself, and it's insane to think about how many different creative fields that actually exist. And people are like, "Yeah, get a real job," and I'm just sitting here like, have you ever stepped outside? Like,
I've said for a long time the whole like gatekeeping, where they like try to label some stuff as art and some stuff as not, and they like go, that's a craft, that's not art. It's like no. If you're creating with your hands, if you're creating something with your hands from your imagination, it's art.
Yes, I agree.
Period.
I'm sorry, but Vargas, the guy who did all those porn drawings for Playboy, yeah, he's an artist. He's more of an artist than most of us will ever be.
And I'm sorry, but somebody who can sit there and look at a bunch of beads and weave this giant intricate necklace is still a fucking artist.
Exactly.
Language.
There's so many different types.
I'm sorry, you know me. I have my issues with that.
Yeah,
I try.
You're trying. I'm trying. You're trying. I'll give you that.
It's all good. Like I can't go 5 seconds without saying the F word. I just happened to be a teacher back in the old days, so I have teacher mode on right now, where I don't let a single swear word go past my filter. But if you talk to me normally, like different call, oh yeah, I'm dropping F-bombs left and right.
And that's a different reason. One of the other reasons I'm not allowed in the workforce anymore. I can't filter correctly because of the seizure damage. So I have trouble censoring anything I say, which is why.
I totally
a million times when I slip. I really am.
Yeah, I certainly come at this at like a different angle than you ladies, because like I'm a writer, which is like we said, a different kind of artist. But like when we're talking about AI art, we're talking about like the visual portion. And it's like, yeah, I have to hire artists, I have to hire the stuff, and is it expensive? Yeah, but I do it because I want good comics, and I think I'd safe to say I've been rewarded for that.
Yeah. Also, it's way easier to work with an actual artist than try to put in 5,000 different prompts and never get the result that you want. Like it's literally what it is. It's just randomly generated images, and it's never the same image that you get over and over to begin with. So it's like actually refining it is really difficult.
There's another thing I've seen, though, which is one of the things I have to address, because not all AIs are just word-based prompts. You can also actually scan a piece in and have it based what you're telling it to do off of the art already scanned. And what I've seen a lot of these people pull on people is that they will say they want a piece of art. They will hire an artist that will let them get a base sketch up front, and then they will steal that sketch and scan it in and start using it.
Yeah, that's pretty scummy.
And I've seen this done to several artists. I've told them all at this point, with the way people are acting, get half of it up front, period, because you can't trust them. And it's sad that we've hit that point in society where it's get the money up front.
I mean, if we're talking about like commission-based stuff, I mean that kind of shitty behavior has existed since the dawn of time, like since the dawn of the internet age. Like I've heard some stories. Like I remember one artist friend of mine. This is like back in the 2000s. He was telling me he was talking to this guy from a foreign country. He demanded that he get put up in a New York hotel, get paid a stipend of like $600 a week, and then he draw his comic. Like, I just remember that. It's just ridiculous.
I've had people screw me over often. Okay, fair disclosure. Since I got taken out of the workforce when I was 23 because of how bad my medical was getting. I've been out of the everyday workforce for almost 17 years now.
All right.
So I've had to do this a lot. And when I pulled out of the workforce, the first thing I did is start focusing more on the stuff I was already making, whether it's sewn, beading, crocheted, anything else. I was doing everything I could to make and sell stuff and to do custom jobs and stuff so I could still contribute. Not because I need it, but because I don't want to be another person on disability. What I didn't know is they base disability on how long it's been since you worked. And even though I am legally disabled and I've been contributing to society because my work is considered part-time self-employment, it doesn't count for earning money in disability, even though I do.
That's insane.
So that means that I'm not considered that I've worked in the last 10 years and I'm not eligible for disability even if I need it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's literally art is what's keeping me going, so I don't have to be just a drain on my husband, and so I can actually contribute and help other people. Without the art, I can't do that.
That's honestly how I feel. I've been unemployed the last 3 years right now, because I actually moved to Japan and there's no jobs here for me at all. And trust me, I've tried every possible way to get a position here. It's not happening. I should probably mention I'm here because of SOFA status, which is status of forces agreement. We're here because of the military. So very, very difficult for someone like me to even like get a position in the first place. So I know how you feel, where it's just like I'm at home all day, and I'm actually currently suffering from severe critical deficiencies right now. And I'm in the currently recovery, and that's what art is to me as well. It's the reason why I've been going on this island for like the last 3 years, because I kind of got nothing else going on. And like that's another thing like about it too, is like a lot of people are like, AI is the future, AI is this, but a lot of people don't know is that like, yeah, like the other thing about art and what's so special about it too, or just making or writing or creating music or anything, is
It gives a place to those of us with physical and mental disabilities. So some of us who don't fit in society or struggle more in society have more of a place because we have art. We have the ability to express ourselves and make something out of it and do something constructive without just being our limitations or our disabilities. And
exactly. And it's not even about monetizing it, because a lot of people who are into like this, AI bro mindset they're just like money, right? They're just like, what can I crap out in like 2 seconds to just make like a buck? Like, how do I get into, they're in this like get rich quick scheme mindset. And at the end of the day, like, as an artist and as a writer and, as a creator, I'm just kind of like, well, the thing about art and why people are so attracted to it and why, making human art is not going anywhere anytime soon is because, you put your heart and soul into it, because
self-expression.
Exactly. It's self-expression. Like at the end of the day, it's self-expression. And that's what people relate to when they see other artwork by other people, how they connect. Like art is a way for you to connect to the people. And if you're just spitting out AI, you're not really getting anywhere with that. You're just looking to make a quick buck.
Funny you should mention about making a quick buck. So here in my local comic scene, there's this guy who is known as comics for $1 guy, because like his whole shtick is he's like comics for $1, and he sells comics for $1, and they're kind of equivalent to like a second or third grader like doing mini comics. But I guarantee you, his art has more soul, and has more passion than even the finest of AI art.
AI art is fine. Since when?
I was trying to make a point, but yeah.
I know. And like that sounds interesting. Comic for $1. It's just elementary level art. That's great. I love it.
Supposedly, the dude makes a lot of money. Hey, Nix.
Hi.
A new challenger joins the battle. Taking advantage of me being a little under the weather, I have my super deep and cringy voice.
It's the best kind of cringe.
Yes, it is. I'm Batman. Okay, Nix, what are your thoughts on AI art?
honestly, I don't know. Like if you're just using it for fun, I don't know. It's not a big deal. But like people now stealing actual artists' work, feeding them through an AI generator, like, oh, well, actually, I did this. That's
No.
crummy.
No.
That's really
no,
crummy.
No.
They're like, I typed so many prompts in. You don't know how many words it took me to generate this image.
My
Like
fingers are
what?
sore.
My
If I would-
fingers are sore.
If I can be positive, for one moment, there like some positive uses of AI was for the new Cyberpunk expansion. There's a character named Victor, who's like one of the main Ripper docs. The voice actor had died in between Cyberpunk and the new expansion, Phantom Liberty. So CDPR was either we recast the role and have to have the new actor voice the old lines, essentially eliminating the old actor, or they get the permission from the estate to use AI voice generation. And so that's what they did. They got permission from the actor's estate to use AI voice for the new lines. I'm gonna make like that is the one time I will make an exception because they got permission from the estate, and this is like he's dead. So it's like I think in this instance, I think we can all agree that that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Well, permission was granted. So
I still don't, because I don't think anything should be done with somebody's stuff when they're dead. If it's actually saying that they created it or using their voice or their image, because I don't care. Relatives cannot say what that person actually would have believed in or agreed to.
I mean, look at the current state of the
that.
Tolkien estate. Look at the current state of the Tolkien estate. I mean, that's
what I went through exactly, because when you first started, even Christopher did not understand a lot of what his father was and didn't get it right. So,
but Christopher at least tried. Christopher tried.
He didn't get the religious aspect, and he really screwed up big on a lot of the religious stuff with controlling the estate.
But he did his best.
Tried.
Did his best.
Yes, yeah. But I'm saying, even with that, Christopher, even though I do believe he genuinely tried, and even though I do think he actually respected his father's memory, I wouldn't have wanted him to represent what his father would have actually said or done, because he didn't understand his faith. He didn't understand that side of him. It wouldn't have come off right.
I still think at the time, Christopher Tolkien was probably the best man for the job.
Yeah, like I'm not putting him down. I'm trying to explain that I'm not putting him down, but there's a balance there. He didn't understand his father's faith, so would it have been right for him to say agree something? So, well, you can use my father's voice and likeness for this, because his father probably wouldn't have agreed. Yes, I know, Kat.
Yeah, and yeah. And one of the ways that AI, and then there's 20 ways that AI can be used. Like, for example, how cool would it be to play a game like Skyrim and you're having a conversation with NPC, but it's powered by ChatGPT, so you're actually having like more of an active conversation with them. Like, that is our dream. Like that is the dream for video games. Like, I'm actually excited for AI conversation, and I really hope. I actually genuinely hope Elder Scrolls 3 uses AI, even AI voice generation, for that kind of stuff.
She's not helping this be simple conversation.
Oh, my foot is petting a dog, so I know exactly what you mean. I am not Tom. I am Melon Lord. I love Parrothead. He sends me daily tributes of redheads. Sometimes they're naked.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's Parrothead. What do you expect?
Ornery, down, baby.
So,
no, you're gonna knock my bra off. Would you stop?
I mean, that would be a moment. So, what are some other positive aspects you think AI could be used for?
See, I think if you use it right, it could actually really help you create multiple images when you're trying to do stills and alterings and action shots and stuff as an artist, especially the ones where you scan in your own work and you do modifications through it. I actually think is very useful. I think it can be very useful if you use it correctly in helping you come up with poses and figures and stuff, basically as a digital version of this. You know,
Yeah.
you could very much use it that way, and then just tweak it a little bit from where you don't think it looks quite real. There are
moment to get
aspects where
nuked.
it could be worked correctly. So
yeah, like we've all talked about, like the concept art generation, you know, and like yeah, that's actually really good. Like I could honestly see myself like hey, I'm trying to do this, like generate for concept art to set like cinema art to say I want this to better get it across. Like I could totally see myself doing that.
I mean, my icon right now, not on Twitter here, I mean, is AI generated, so
Yeah.
I can't complain too much. It's pretty great. You know, just fooling around with it. And I
Yeah.
famously have a chatbot addiction that started a couple months ago.
Oh dear Lord, we need to stage you an intervention.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I am very broke now, and it's only getting worse. Help!
Ego Rider, do you have any comment?
Parrothead, you're a bastard.
And that's why we love him. Lord help us if Nick finds a JoJo chatbot.
I already have.
Oh my God, we've lost her. We've lost her.
I found several, and I'm not even kidding, and this is very worrying. So I have to like cut back. I am like very much in debt right now.
Oh dear God, what have you done?
I was gonna say I will also say I will use, because AI cannot be copyrighted, and B, it can't do certain things. I have no shame in looking at all the AI artists and looking at the poses they come up with and going, well, I can base loosely off that shape one of my TNA sketch cards. That's not going to be it. I'm not going to do it in that style or anything else, but that's a good pose, you know?
And if you do it in your own art, then it's copyrightable. Oh, and Vakeman fangirl is judging you. Oh dear God. So what do you think is like? I think we all kind of have this consensus, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that like AR art is fine as a tool, but like it's not something that can replace artists. Because like my biggest problem with the AI stuff, and I see this all the time on YouTube, is like AI art is gonna take over everything. It's like everything else is doomed.
But isn't that like what they said with NFTs?
Yeah, and those are bombing horribly. A little disclosure here. For my position on this stuff. Hey, my husband works in software and programming and engineering heavily, technically, for almost 20 years. He is doing courses studying applied technology, robotics, and programming AI from scratch. So I actually deal with this and what it really is all the time.
Yeah, it's like, you remember how like even as early as like 3 years ago, it's like, self-driving cars are going to be everywhere, and then all of a sudden they just stopped talking about them.
Me and my husband have explained to people why self-driving cars can't work in most places for years. Same with the whole EV thing; they don't work in most places because you don't have the kind of grid required to do it, because
definitely
or the ability to, because it's too rural. And so my husband gets into this, and God bless him, he gets so technical. Avionic engineer. He's literally programmed autopilots and stuff before. So when he starts getting on self-driving cars, he starts explaining why autopilots are better than self-driving cars and why all the things that cars have to deal with autopilots don't. He gets so technical in it. I'm sitting there going, it's like listening to the adults and Peanuts. Oh my God.
Well, we're going to like, I don't think electric cars are going to fully go away, but like I think in the next 4 to 5 years, we're going to see like a real contraction of the AV market once they really start hitting the used sector, and people realize like you know, like the battery replacements on these things, like that's because like your average car usually lasts about 30 years as it goes down the used cycle. Like, person buys it new, used, and like you get sold and sold. Like, you don't usually see cars daily driven that are more than 30 years old, roughly. And so yeah, your average but like I'd say EVs probably won't even last 20 at best, maybe not even 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that first battery replacement, like once that person has to replace a battery, like that's gonna be like a $20,000 to $30,000 charge. They're like, screw this, I'm just gonna buy another car. I think there's gonna be a shift. Like I think EVs are like they're not gonna go away, but they're not gonna be mainstream. I think the solution might be we might see a shift back towards hybrids. You know, like they're kind of doing that hybrids back in the 2010s. I think we're kind of starting to see a shift back towards hybrids.
Hybrids are actually much better, because they can be done much easier without the lithium and the things that are more technically damaging and unsafe. And there's all the other stuff. And so, again, technology isn't itself wrong or evil, but people are not considering all the avenues and all the issues with them, and it becomes a kind of joke, honestly.
Plus, like hybrids, they do actually account for the weaknesses of EVs. Like if let's say it's 2 degrees outside, you turn on the engine and it's like a small combustible engine that starts the car, that gets things going, that warms up the batteries, and then by the time the batteries kick in, the batteries are all warm. You know, and like it's like having an engine in there really does actually take out a lot of, and I'm an ICE fan. I like internal combustion engines, but even I got to admit, hybrids just work a lot. Like they just work practical.
It's such a balance, and I have nothing against the technology if it's done well. I have nothing against it. It just has to be done well, and that's where I really get kind of hard edge on this.
Yeah, like for example, Mazda just recently announced a new concept Miata where it's basically a hybrid, and they're using a two rotor rotary engine as the engine. I think that's like really interesting, and dare I say I might even buy it.
I'm not too much of a car person, so
okay.
It's all foreign language to me. I haven't driven
Same.
a car in a very long time right now.
See, this is the thing: is everyone assumes that I would be the girl in this like giant truck or SUV running everything over, and I've had large SUV before, but I actually drive a little Fit.
I mean, I drive a small little hatchback, so I'm right there with you.
Well, that's what a Fit is. It's a tiny hatchback designed for maximizing your mileage. And with what I do with my photography, with my travel, with dealing back and forth with mom and stuff, I can't afford to run those big gas guzzlers. It just, it's such,
like for me, I do convention.
Hundreds of dollars a month. It's taken off my bills. To be
a hatchback is perfect.
other.
My hatchback is perfect for me because like I do conventions. I put a lot of stuff in that back trunk, and having that extra height for the hatchback just makes it's so great. And so I love my hatchback. I do think we're gonna see more of a contraction here soon because like everyone in America is buying trucks and SUVs, and god dang do I hate those big ass trucks because like they're like I've had big vehicles, they're a nightmare to park. They just take up space on the road. I just prefer smaller, nimble cars.
See, I am getting to the point where the Fit is an issue for me because my nerve and muscle issues are getting bad enough. Like getting down low and in and out is starting to become a problem. So I am going to go a little bit bigger on the next vehicle. But that's the balance, right?
I mean, if it's what you need, it's what you need. I'm not going to like disparage you for getting a vehicle for your needs. I'm not going to say
well, that's what I'm saying. I think since we all have these issues we have to deal with, and I think it's too easy for us to get into, well, I need this, so why doesn't everybody just use this? And it's like, because we're not all monolithic. We don't have all the same needs.
Yeah, it's just my problem is like when it comes to like the big ass trucks, it's like they don't like and I hate this argument. It's like they don't need it. Like I first off, I hate that argument, so I hate like saying it because you get that a lot in like the gun argument of like, why do you need all these guns? You know? And it's
because
like
fuck you. That's what part.
And the same thing can be applied to like my argument for the big trucks. Like, why do you need a big truck? They don't need a big truck. They want it. And who am I to get in the way of what they want?
But those big trucks are used a lot, actually, especially in rural states and agrarian states, or in people who do a lot of lugging, hauling, construction, other stuff. There's so many people who do actually need them.
Yeah, when you're in a very rural area, like I used to live. Well, I mean, I still live in a rural area. I'm in the middle of nowhere here in Japan. And before I moved here, back in, because I'm originally from the U.S., we pretty much lived in an agriculture town, and everyone pretty much had like big trucks, but there was like tons and tons of farms just constantly surrounding me. Also out in the middle of nowhere. So it's not uncommon to see people like use large vehicles in rural areas. At least for me, it doesn't seem far-fetched, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you gotta lug everything around, like Eagle Rider said.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like when you're in a rural area, there's more space for those big trucks, not just like the roads, but also the parking lots. You know, you have these.
If you ever come to Japan, I'm assuming you're from the U.S., right, Nick?
I have an idea of how small and compact
it's very tiny here.
It is 100 and almost 26 million, and it's about the size of Montana.
It's very the houses, the roads, everything's very tiny here. So if you're not used to driving on a small, like most people here have small cars just because of that.
Yeah, it is. I can give a comparison to help them understand the size here. Easy. Okay, Japan is approximately double the size of the state I grew up in, South Dakota.
Yeah.
South Dakota population is just shy of 1 million.
Right.
This is rural. Japan has almost 126 million people. So think about population per square mile comparison. It's almost 100 to 1.
Yeah. They try to make everything tiny here just because there's only like so much space.
Especially
so it's not very often you see like a big vehicle here.
Yeah. So when you said you're in rural and you're in Japan, my brain went kind of rural in my mind because that's like people saying they're rural New York. To me, it's like. Yes, it's rural compared to being in the city, but it's not rural compared to what I'm used to, you know?
Someone wanted to say hi.
And it's not a shot at anybody. It's just the comparison in different lifestyles that you deal with, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in a state with almost no population, massive square miles, mountains everywhere, painted desert, everything else. Reservations and areas that are complete power and water blackout areas and stuff, and you're not doing EVs or these other things there. You need tough vehicles that can get you through. And even with my little compact one here, I had to get one that was tougher than the others in that class, you know?
And here's kind of where my perspective comes in. I live in the Metro Detroit area, so I live in a suburban
It's no longer
area.
about AAR.
I mean, here's the thing you need to know, Rose. The Friday Night Frenzy, the topics, they're more like a set of guidelines, so we go off topic pretty easily.
Behave.
Don't
so like my fingers.
In my suburban area, there's about 4 to 6 million people in my suburban area, my like metroplex area. Southeastern Michigan. So like I don't know what the size is, but so like it's somewhat dense, but not like really, really dense. But so that's where my perspective comes from. I gotta answer Parrot Head's question here. Courage. See, I'm house sitting for the pupper right now. That's why you see like a different background. Courage is in my apartment next door. He is quietly sitting in his cage, all happy and whatnot.
These are art. Machine made jewelry you see in the store, even when it's beaded to look more like this kind of stuff, it's not the same. And people don't flock to it the same way they do the handmade stuff. Well, just think when my cats come curl up with us and my husband's laying with me. The other day, I had all 3 cats on me. My husband lays behind me, wraps his arms around me, and goes, I've got all 4 pussies.
There's a reason you married that man.
Yeah, I know. Good Lord. But it's a balance, and it's not that simple overall. But
yeah, one argument that I've heard is a lot of people use AI art for like background generation, and also they've also brought up like certain effects in Photoshop that are kind of AI.
And there's a balance to that too, because there's parts of what I do that are digital programmers and AI technology. I will run my photos through a program that will break it down into basically a coloring book so I can do my next stages in doing drawings and colorings off it. That's still some AI technology there.
Yeah, and like, how cool would it be to have a program that could remove the color from a page just so that it can be colored again, but it's going to be something that uses AI.
I was like, if I wanted to extract line art out of something, I can go in Photoshop and use color range. And it does it.
Is that not a form of AI?
I would say.
And it's a balance.
Well, yeah, it's a built-in tool.
I gotta deal with the cat 1 minute.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we draw the line, where it's like AI as a tool is fine, but like AI as the source of creation is kind of where like us and the AI art bros, we have our differences.
Yeah, because it's at the end of the day, it is a tool. It is not a final product. It's just something that you use to make what you want. But if you're just plopping in a few words and generating something, or even scanning an image, at the end of the day, it's not yours. It's not final creation, but you can use it. Excuse me. But like at the end of the day, like it's just a tool. I mean, we're constantly using AI every day. Our cell phones are like the prime example of that, like listening to us, picking up what we say, or just AI that like, things like Google just tracks. That's how that's how you get advertisements to you or like marketing to you of like things that might be interesting.
The AI stuff. I've never liked the other things like Alexa and Siri and stuff like that. I did have fun screwing with a friend's Alexa, actually.
Okay. Oh, it's even more insidious than that. Like
no. This is a great story if you want to hear it.
Tell your story, but I wanted to do this thing real quick. So like, because, I don't know how many times I've been on a phone with a friend and I talk about something, and then I go to like for example, like we talk about plungers, and like I go to Facebook and I get all these ads for plungers, but like it's just like talking about on the phone. It's just yeah.
Okay, so
a conspiracy.
Big Brother's watching.
This friend was streaming with me a bit, and he had his on, and he wasn't.
Yes, Neff. Yes.
It could be picked up in the room, and so the first time he did this, I tried to get it to order him 20 tons of toilet paper, and it was actually trying to. The second time he came on and didn't mute it out, I actually had it looking up granny porn for him. The third time, I was actually trying to get it to look up recipes for chloroform. Before he actually learned to turn it off and keep headphones on when he was streaming with me.
Yeah, like that technology is really crazy. Like, remember a story my sister was telling me how one day, like a set of Nerf guns appeared at the door and they don't remember ordering it. So they went back and checked. It turns out their 4-year-old son had figured out how to order Nerf guns on Amazon. 4 years old and already ordering stuff off of Amazon. Jeff Bezos is getting them young.
I know kids who can pick up a phone and order stuff who are like toddlers. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, what the world is wrong with you parents? Don't let the kids have that crap. They're going to be charging all kinds of stuff to you. You're going to go to your mailbox. It's going to be full of toys and crap.
Well, why Luna's not allowed to have my phone?
Granted, if I get my phone and I have the budget and the phone, I'm ordering toys too, but it's a little different.
You're ordering a different kind of toys. It's like, honey, we don't need another set of velvet handcuffs. But these ones are in pink.
No. Those are too soft and sweet. Anyway. There's a line in Last Man Standing where she's talking about get the power fixed and stuff. Because I have she's trying to do this because I have a son who likes his toys with batteries. But then again, don't we all?
It's even better. It's like the way that I would play that joke. It's like you cut to like the ant, the fun ant, and she was like, "Don't we all?" And then she just sips whatever she's drinking.
But it's like there's a balance in life, and I don't think AI is inherently evil, but I do think it is inherently dangerous. And the deep fakes and the making up stuff people did in the creating images of people committing crimes and shit like that, the blackmailing stuff, the creating porn of women that didn't consent to it, and actually using digital scanners to figure out what their body looks like under the clothes to make it realistic to them. This stuff is really insidious and dark, and
there's a lot of child images out there circulating around because of AI generation.
There's also a lot of women who never consented who are having deep fake sexual stuff and e-thought stuff made of them and then being blackmailed with this. There's been women who never did it who had lost their kids because they were being considered prostitutes and other stuff like that. It is actually really bad. And the thing is, when you don't consent to that and you're not taking the pictures and videos and it really looks like you feel violated. It is absolutely a violation of you.
Do you remember like a bunch of voice actors are coming out? This is not the Scooby-Doo controversy, but like apparently a bunch of modders for like Skyrim and like other ones are using the AI voice generation to create like porn mods for some of the characters in like Skyrim or Fallout. And it's actually being voiced like AI wise by these voice actors, and they're coming out and like the Scooby-Doo like situation. I think Gray was in the wrong, but like the previous version, actually we'll touch upon that situation, the Scooby-Doo situation, but like this one I think they're in the right. But like let's talk about the Scooby-Doo situation. So for those who don't know, a guy did an AI art Scooby-Doo thing and used AI voices. And Gray DeLuise had a freak out. I don't think she was in the wrong for saying it was bad, but I think the way she handled it was totally not the way to do it. Also, Peter Venkman fan site, that happens way more than they think when you realize.
Happens to me all the time.
Will put it this way. I've yet to find a woman I know who, if you search the dark web, there aren't deep fakes of sexually.
Oh, dear God.
And I will tell you that I've had somebody send me ones of me.
That's disturbing.
That's got to be weird.
So it is really, really creepy. And some of us who really value our modesty and our privacy to an utmost, and I show cleavage, but that's not the same thing.
It's got to feel violating. I imagine it feels like very violating.
It's frightening because
it
is accurate to insane levels where if the clothing brushes against you in a certain spot, it picks up the scars underneath this clothing in the lighting. Ooh. There's literally scars on my body that I've never shown anyone that were in these fakes.
How do they get those?
Because the lighting on the clothing. It creates enough of a bleed through they can pick it up.
Wow, that's scary.
It's freaky. It's so scary. And it's like, and yes, I don't think that an artist drawing something based on a real person is the same. We can't deep fake like that. We can't make it look like the person. Yeah, it can feel insulting and a little violating, but it's not the same. You're not truly violating that person's privacy like these things do. And I sit there and look at this and I'm going, I'm a freaking pudgy woman that's about to turn 40. I'm not some sex kitten. Somebody really took the time to make this.
Yeah, because they're a whole new level of degenerate that we don't want to walk into. That's a fun. I joke and say I'm a degenerate, but really Same. Like that. Yeah, but that is a whole different level of like scum.
See,
when I was a wrestler.
See, you guys are level 3 degenerates. These people are
4.
like level. Okay, fine. But still, these people are level 8 degenerates. They are in a whole different stratosphere.
I think there's a point somewhere around like level 6 or 7 in degeneracy where you cross from almost anything goes into degeneracy, but it's consensual to you're just a freaking predator.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I am fully a full-on kinkster, all that stuff. I don't care. I'm a degenerate, but everything has to be consensual and do not push.
Okay. So if we're going to have a degeneracy scale where 1 equals Mr. Rogers and 10 equals Jeffrey Epstein.
The guys doing these fakes and harassing, stalking women and threatening them definitely go in the 9-10 range.
I don't know. I wouldn't classify them. I wouldn't put them like they're not like 8 or 9. I put them because they're not full on Jeffrey Epstein.
Some of them. These are things I get. Back when I was a wrestler, back when I was skinny, back when I was young and everything was bouncy, you know, and it's pretty firm for my age, but they're still aged, you know. I still have a bunch of scars. I get all this. I could get when I was young and hot.
Eagle, yes, we know they are real and we know they are fantastic.
Look at their scars. You can see it here in the camera.
You want to know how I got these scars?
And I have a history of dealing with predatory behavior from people. I do. And part of it was because I was stupid and I had a cycle of ending up with people like that. But when people are starting to do this and send me stuff like this now, and I've been free of that crap for years, it's freaky. It's scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Happens a lot. Well, a lot of people just don't think about it because it hasn't happened to them.
And that's a lot of things out there because empathy is really like even among humanity. We often show more concern to the homeless man we pass by every day, to the starving children in Africa. You know, like we're more inclined to like help. Like, old man Fred, I pass by him every day. He's a great guy. Oh, I listened to his story. He hasn't seen his niece in 20 years. Let's help find his niece. You know, oh, he's back on his feet. Cool. Then their children starving in Africa. You know. Yeah, it's kind of like I guess it's called it's a name for it. It's not a regency bias. It's
I've had my mother say that to me once, like, eat your food, there's children starving in Africa, and it's just like, well, how am I gonna get this food to them? Like this is counterproductive. What is the solution here? Like what, like, okay, and what do you do? Like, how do we solve
what do you
this
want
problem?
me to do? Do you want me to call up Toto and have
Mom,
them
I'm 10 years old.
Africa?
I'm 10 years old. I don't even know what taxes are.
Sorry, just like what you said, it's kind of stunned there for a moment, but yeah.
So yes, I went a little realistic on this because this is a discussion of AI and it's something I've been dealing with, not just with myself, but with a lot of the women I moderate for on different sites. Is this is becoming very real, where this is happening to a lot of women. If you're on camera, they're doing it, and they will do this, and they will make images of you doing things with animals, with children, other stuff, and then they'll blackmail you with them.
I mean, if they want to make an AR of me petting a dog's head, I mean, that's fine.
It's scary.
I'm trying to.
We're in a world where this is happening.
I'm trying to lighten the mood. I'm sorry.
I know you are. I'm sorry, but I had to mention it because it is part of the risks with AI right now.
Oh, absolutely. I've already seen it happen to a few other women as well. That's probably why I'm also a little hesitant to like post pictures of myself like on my Twitter/X account.
All right.
Like once or twice I have, but like I don't really share many photos of myself like that often. It's pretty rare if I do.
Sit, Peaches. Can you sit for
me? The only place that's really present is like one of my private accounts, but that's with like friends, like close friends and family, like people who know me like in real life, not like online as Rosalynth.
But yeah, like, and then the worst part is, like, what can we do about it? It's like, you know,
Isn't there something called Nightshade coming out or whatever that's supposed to like quote quote poison the well of AI? I saw some people like talking about that briefly.
I mean,
My
if it works, that'd be
sister-in-law
cool.
and my mom were sending me stuff like that, where they're creating programs to basically help you safeguard your images and your art against AI scans.
But like, hasn't AR, like, I remember like seeing people talk about how like AI art in the past year has gotten worse, because when AI art first started coming out, it was training on like actual art, and now because there's all this like AI art out there, you got AI art training itself on AI art, and it's just getting worse. Is that actually
Like an
true, or is that
Ouroboros.
just, yeah, kind of thing? Like, is that just cope? Because like I've heard people talking about it, I had no proof of it.
It
but
is happening. I've seen it, or you're getting them starting to train off things because they're not realizing when there's AI fakes. And the other one that makes me laugh is the people who fall for these AI fakes and try to make themselves experts in fields and then they share them. Like Lakota Man trying to claim to be such an expert on tribal culture, and he shared a really bad AI fake about bison babies, trying to claim it was the animal. And it looks like somebody shrunk a bison down as a mouse or something. It's terrible and not realistic at all. It's like there's a part of you that wants to laugh so hard, but then you're going, these people who aren't experts, who clearly don't know anything, are sharing this stuff and claiming that it's the real thing. And there's millions of people believing them and falling for it.
Yeah, the thing is, we live in we're kind of in a transitionary period right now. Like, I kind of feel like this is we're kind of like in like the mid to late '90s era again. We're like when like the internet was first starting to like really take off, and like there's a lot of unknowns. You know, me and Rose might understand it because we're old. Rose is young, so she might not. Hey, I'm old too, so
I feel pretty old.
You're still younger than me, aren't you?
What?
You're still younger than me, aren't you?
I think by about 5 years or so.
Yay, I gotta turn 40 in a couple months.
I turned 36 here in a couple months.
I'm turning 29 in a few months.
Aw, you're a spring chicken.
Spring chicken.
I definitely don't feel like it with the way my body's going.
Is, so.
Meanwhile, Nix is even too young to drink, so.
What? I'm 26.
Thank you. I feel old now compared to all of you.
I just don't drink because I don't like it.
I don't drink. I never have.
All right, Parrothead, how old are you then? You said your kids compared to us. How old are you, Parrothead?
Yeah, say something real about yourself.
Say something real.
Watch, Parrothead is going to be like 60 years old, and we're like, that explains so much.
Hey, I've known Parrothead for years. I can give him shit if I want to. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I've known him for a little bit myself. He's a good guy. But yeah. So what else have you got?
Oh, you're not that old compared to me. Shut up.
Oh, okay. But like, so what else you get ladies been up to? Like, what you been playing or watching?
Writing and sorting photos and editing prints.
Well, before I hop off here in a few minutes, I have been writing my novel, my first book ever, and
nice.
I am almost done with it soon. And then we're finally leaving Japan soon. So a lot of packing within these next 2 weeks coming up for me.
I bet you could not be happier.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, we're going to be going to the States for a bit, and then we're finally going to be moving to Europe for a few years. So I'm pretty hyped. It'd be nice to get off the island and go into another culture, and then just go into another culture right after that.
Well, at least with Europe, it's closer to your culture, so it won't be as much of a culture shock.
I'm still expecting a culture shock.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to have a culture shock once I get back to America.
Oh yeah, like
what? Like
why is everyone so fat?
No, it's not that. It's more so like just the way like people act. Like Americans are very loud and rowdy and don't have like a lot of self-control. Where in Japan, people are very like reserved, and there's rules, and you follow the rules, and people follow the rules, and it's much more cleaner. Like I remember the last time I was in the States, like I went to the Atlanta airport, for example, and it's just disgusting and gross, and people just throw trash on the ground.
Just out of the major cities, there's plenty of places that are still clean and nice and polite.
Yeah,
not in the major cities.
Yeah, the customer service is entirely different, like how you treat customers and things like that. It's just mannerism. It's completely different. It's one of those things where you don't. It's one of those things where you don't really understand until you get here. It's not something that you can just like watch anime and then understand. It's entirely different when you actually.
You're not gonna get from that. Examples we get of Japanese culture from the tourists over here are not good.
To be fair,
the tourists we get over here are not that good compared to the rest of them. I've actually got a lot of people I know that are in Japan or Japanese and sweet people, but the tourists are horrible.
Well, here's the thing. To be fair, America is not like sitcoms and movies. Like we're not, you know.
Oh yeah, of course not.
That being said, I feel like one of the problems is the outside view of America is shaped by people just see the big cities and they think that's America, when it's not. They think they see New York and LA and they think, oh, that's America. That's a part of America, you know? And it's like, it's all Mickey Mouse, Statue of Liberty, Grand Canyon, you know, whatever. But like there's so many parts of America and it's so big. And it's like what Roseph was saying, like, oh, Americas are this or that, and it's just kind of an unfair comparison. It's like saying Japanese are this or that. It's like you get out of the cities, it's an entirely different attitude, and it's like
Well, I also I mentioned earlier in the stream here that I'm also from a rural area, so it's just very vastly different. I don't entirely know what the European culture is going to be like until I get there. So,
also depends on
but I can definitely tell you if you ever decide to visit Japan, it's very, very, very different.
I was going to say it's also partly tourism and culture, because the people see as Americans are usually the tourists that come to their countries. And let's face it, most of the American tourists that travel abroad are rich, arrogant assholes who think that they're the best things in sliced bread and really don't represent 99% of this country. But boy, do they give us a bad look in public eyes, publicly, when they go abroad. Because the ugly American stereotype comes from those very arrogant, elitist jackasses. And it's not like, what most of us are like, but
how many times has there been like, oh no, I'm going to the South, it's all racist there. And then like they spend like 5 minutes like, oh my God, you guys are like the nicest people ever. You know, it's like every time an outsider, even from the US, they go down south and think, oh, it's a bunch of like KKK racists out there, and they just meet, oh look, I broke down and like there's 5 people who were trying to help me like within 2 seconds. You know, like one person offered me lemonade, you know, like whatever. Like I'm like, as a northerner, I gotta say, you southerners are awesome. You are the nicest people ever.
I don't know. So that whole attitude of helping each other stuff, I grew up around that. I think it's less southern versus northern, and it's more rural versus populous.
I agree.
In the rural areas, that's more the common culture. And Texas, I have so many friends from Texas that are sweethearts. The tourists that we get from Texas that come up to the Black Hills are the most racist, abusive assholes you'll ever meet. Well, they are the worst ones, bar only second to Canadians, ironically, who are supposedly so polite. Assholes.
Hey, we got a Canadian here.
Like I said, it's not the majority. It's the tourists who come to that area is what I'm talking about.
Well, I think it's just you know, rich assholes are going to be rich assholes no matter where they're from. You know, like if you're from Texas and you're a rich asshole, you're going to be a rich asshole. Now, certain areas do, like when you get to the upper, like the rich Canadians are, oh my God, they're insufferable. Sorry, Nix. And like, yes,
I'm not rich.
I'm not bashing.
I'm not rich, and I'm just like, man, I've never related to it.
The stereotype of the soft-spoken, delicate, so sorry Canadian I've never met, but I have so many friends up there, it's not even funny. But when they come down as tourists to the Black Hills, they're loud, they're aggressive, they're swearing every other word, and they're pushy and arrogant, and they don't obey the rules, and they cause issues for the animals.
I'm literally
And
40 minutes from the Canadian border right this moment.
Bad
like
parenting.
Literally, I can drive for an hour and be in Canada. Like right now, if I left right now, in an hour I'd be in Canada.
So this is why I said tourism gives you a very tainted view of different areas, because whichever tourist area you live in, the people that are the worst examples of tourists will taint your view of that region unless you start getting to know other people in it. Because if I just paid attention to the tourism I watched my whole childhood in the Black Hills and all that, I would hate Texas and Canada, honestly, because it was horrible.
I should say my experience is not from tourism, though, because I've resided here the last 3 years. It's not like I took a quick visit and
you went native.
Gone. Yeah, like I'm not a resident of Japan, but I have resided here the last 3 years. So
I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to how where you live, the tourists that come visit you will taint your view of the places they come from.
I'm kind of low key here, like what tourism? Like, well, great today. I live in kind of
have a good day, Repaired Head.
I live in a very rural area, so like when a lot of people think of like Japan, they think of Tokyo, which is a very nice place to visit. I do recommend. If you ever do visit Japan, I recommend Osaka. It's a much more laid back city.
Well, thing is,
if you are in like a escalator though, you do go on the opposite side, which is very interesting for Osaka. I don't know why people do that, but it's much more.
I just want to go to
Akihabara.
Back. I just want to go to Akihabara. That's what I want to visit.
Yeah, I've been there. It's just anime vomited everywhere. It's very there's
that
lots
is awesome.
of light. There's anime vomited everywhere. There's lots of lights and sounds and arcades and everything.
Yes.
It is a giant playground.
I can look at the anime part, the lights and sounds. No.
There's a lot of it's like that in Akihabara. There's tons of arcades here in Japan. There's tons of vending machines everywhere. Like here, we'll drive out in the middle of nowhere. Like there'll be no like street lights or anything, and there's just only a single light in the distance, and it's a vending machine out in the middle of nowhere.
So, like the reason I have such a favorable view on Southerners is, my dad's side of the family is from Kentucky. And by Kentucky, I mean like southeastern Kentucky, like actually Appalachia area. And like, so like my dad was born and raised, like spent the first like 10 years of his life in Kentucky. My grandparents, like my Nana, she's still alive. She still has a Southern accent, even though she moved up to Michigan in the 70s. And like they tell me stories. I've been down to that area of Kentucky. It is freaking beautiful. If you're ever down in southeast Kentucky, Virginia area, I really recommend going to the Breaks Interstate Park. It is called the Grand Canyon of the South.
If I'm ever in the States in that area, I'd be down to visit. Unfortunately, I gotta cut this short because me and my husband are going out today. So I will chat with you later. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's kind of like switch gears for a moment. I have some shilling I need to do.
Well, I was about to dip too there. I was trying to say that backstage, so.
All right. So
I told them all I'd be back in about an hour, so I should get back to it.
All right. Well, let's just kind of finish up here for a second. So we are in the last 10 days. We're approaching the last week of this Kickstarter. You guys are freaking awesome. We are $45 away from 1,800. I'm hoping to hit at least the first stretch goal to get that 6 a.m. design of Shiva. So that'll be pretty cool. But already we are funded. Thank you so much. And Eagle Rider, do you have any final words to say?
AI can be very good. It can be very useful in certain technology tools and aspects and learning artwork. But we do need to work and address the very real dangers and the very real art theft that is concordant to it also.
Agreed.
And hopefully as society, we can get to a point where it can work hand in hand with artists and with people instead of being used against them.
Yeah, for sure. Nix, anything else you want to say?
I think we got it covered. Oh,
All
but
right.
if you guys want to fund my chatbot addiction, you know, I have a GoFundMe set up.
Do you have a link you want to drop?
Yeah, just give me one quick second.
All right. Talk about it and put in the private chat. I'll link it.
Yeah, so it's I said it before on my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, you know. I'm just gonna keep calling it Twitter because I don't feel comfortable saying X. But if you follow me on Twitter, I've been talking a bit about it, but I will, if I get at least 500 funded, I'll review Avengers 200.
Oh,
I don't want to, but I will. Or,
last before I. No,
huh?
go ahead. Go ahead, and
Oh,
then I'll. Yeah.
or like any bad comic, the worst of the worst, really. I'll do voices just
All
to
right.
make it more entertaining.
All right. So, last thing before we go. So, my buddy Neff, his rat needs surgery, and I got the link to that. If you guys could check this out, maybe toss him a few bucks. That would be really appreciated. His rat has a tumor, and yeah, like as a rat person, I feel for him. So please consider donating. I wanted to kind of give him a shout out before we head out. So thank you,
And
Nick. Thank
commission
you.
his work. He does really great work.
He did the cover for Screecher #2, by the way. So this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press, and remember, I can only show the door. You just walk through it.